Hi guys, we actually had an opportunity this weekend to see the movie Joker, so we figured since all of you guys should have seen it with a $93 million box office, we talk a little spoiler talk about the movie itself. So,
call it a spoiler. Opening weekend has passed.
Yeah.
And by the time this gets aired,
by the time I finish editing, everybody will have seen it.
It's already on Redbox.
It'll already be on Redbox. Very true. But all right, so let's get first thoughts of the movie. How'd you feel about the movie?
You know what? It was ho-hum.
It was ho-hum.
Ho-hum.
Whoa, what's the hoes and the hums? Wait, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to the hoes and the hums in a minute. My thoughts of the film is that I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't as great as some of the reviews made it seem out to be. So there were some things I took away that I was like, I kind of wish they had put a little bit more focus.
And I'd like to discuss that.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to get into it because I'm so passionate about wanting to get my money back that I didn't want to disclose things I did not like about this movie.
All right, so in a nutshell, I don't know how to do this because I normally do this, is the plot of the film is we meet Arthur Fleck, who is a man suffering from mental illness. Living with his mom and kind of like in a modest apartment and being taken advantage of as he is as a freelance clown, I guess you would say that.
Well, I don't know, because he was being contracted out
through
a company.
So he works as a clown.
Works as a clown, but really the story is about the plot is about someone who's suffering from mental illness,
right?
And I guess people taking advantage of him.
Yeah.
So one day.
Until he snaps. One of the great things in the comic book is that everybody is a particular person until they've reached they had a bad day. And that's one of the things in The Killing Joke that Joker tries to prove to Batman when he shows him can you still uphold your rules and when you suffer a really bad day. They kind of show you more or less what it would be like for somebody to kind of experience something like that and have their whole reality just kind of change. Their view on life just completely changes for just the worst day ever.
They've done that in numerous series. There was one where what's his name? Gordon
Ramsay?
No. What's his name? Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon?
Commissioner Gordon.
Okay.
They shoot his daughter, right?
Yeah, from
he's getting tortured.
Right.
And yet he doesn't give in.
Right.
But let's put things. I guess this is where I want to break down the plot a little bit.
All right. So how did you feel about, even though it doesn't quite follow The Killing Joke, it just kind of takes some themes as far as
I think it took themes from different. But here's the thing about the Joker, which we have to remember: the Joker and the movie itself. I'm not gonna hold it against this film. But the Joker itself, the character, is the complete opposite of Batman.
Right.
Everything that Batman is, Joker is the complete opposite, right?
He's his yin to his yang.
In all the other previous movies, if Joker, if Batman is outlandish, we never really talk about the 1990s Batmans, but Joker was the complete opposite, right? He was, if he was outlandish, but in a complete different way, right?
Right.
When Bruce Wayne has all his cool gadgets, what does he do? He pops out with a big gun that's like freaking 5 feet long, right?
Jack Nicholson one,
when we go to the Christian Bale Batman, a much more serious Batman,
right,
we get a much more serious Joker, right?
Okay.
But the complete opposite. Batman lived by a set of rules, specific rules. Joker didn't, right?
He's a specific set of skills.
A specific set of skills.
I'm sorry.
So
that's what I was thinking when you said that.
This is where I think the movie fell short.
Okay.
Because we did not have...
Well, just in the plot itself. Let's just say that. In the plot, did you not like what they gave us as a plot?
No.
Okay, so you didn't like the mental illness aspect, even though they were trying to use it as a way to explain the psychosis that Joker's character has?
What it needed was it needed, because he's the what is it? Not anti-hero. What's it called?
I mean, like, are you talking about
in this film? You're kind of cheering for him, but
yeah,
not,
they say in every villain mind, he's the hero of his own story.
But this needed something to offset it. We had no hero.
In the sense,
we had nobody.
I mean, because this was just what if you could make a villain story.
No, I get it. But
okay.
Once again, this is a film. This is a movie.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't balanced.
Right.
It didn't feel complete.
Okay, so in that same with that thought being like, hey, we didn't have a villain. We didn't have a hero. Taxi Driver didn't have a hero.
We're not comparing this to other films.
I'm just saying,
and Taxi Driver wasn't that good either.
Oh wow!
Wow! I know these guys are all on De Niro's nuts. He can do no wrong.
Wow!
But the truth is, when you actually start weighing out a film, does it feel complete? Does it feel balanced? Was it actually, there was so many gaps in this film. The way I like the idea. Have a hero? I like the idea. I like the idea of it.
You like the idea, okay.
But the execution fell short.
Okay, so the plot idea of it was good for you, but you didn't like the way they executed. We'll talk a little bit further about that when we like how they directed it and characterizations and stuff like that.
That's why I said if I start going into it,
I know we're gonna piecemeal this out a little bit. So for me, the plot, I actually like the way that they set it up because even though a lot of people who are fans of the Joker don't like for him to have a backstory, just to say that because for you to say that there is a character that is completely psychotic, and then that's just what you have to accept, I need to know more. If you're gonna do it in a real version, you just can't just be psychotic.
You know what would have helped? What would have actually completed this or made it feel is if they would have been able to tie it into another movie where we saw that, where we get, okay, now this makes sense of why we're accepting this character here. This movie, it's as much as when I say, what's the Joker? He's been in other films. No. This is not the same Joker.
It's not the same Joker.
It's not the same Joker that we had in any other film.
Right.
Right? So what I'm saying is if it would have had something to lean up against to say, you know what? If they would have gone Quentin Tarantino style and had, had like the end of the movie actually at the beginning, and then now we see the transition to get to that point, it would have made, that's why I said it just didn't feel balanced.
Okay, so in your defense, some of the reviews that I saw out there, because I went through a lot of critic reviews, and some of them felt like, even though this movie was pitched as a standalone film, they wanted it to be tied to something else, which I thought was the craziest thing in the world, because those same people would have said that this film would have worked better solo if it had been tied to someone else, because then you're bogged down by what's already out there together. It has to now fit the storyline that's in this one. It has to fit the storyline in this one.
We're never going to make, no film is going to make someone 100%, everybody's not going to be 100% happy.
All right.
For me personally, this film needed something to even it out.
Okay, so let's talk about more along the lines of like how they characterized the Joker himself. Joaquin Phoenix's characterization of Joker. How did you feel about how he did as a Joker?
Oh, phenomenal.
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 Okay. So you liked his acting, you liked what he gave us on screen. Yeah. Could you buy him as, they were to transition, which they said that they were not, could you buy him as a Joker going forward in a cinematic universe as this Joker?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
All right. So once again, I was on the same boat. I really love what he did. I love what he gave us. He gave us something new, but yet still kind of carrying those themes over to where I felt like it was the Joker as opposed to with a Jared Leto, where like I felt like he was a gangster in makeup. It was just like, that's a regular person who just is a bad guy wearing clown makeup. With Joaquin Phoenix, I really felt like he was kind of embodying who the Joker is as a person.
He gave it a much more cerebral Joker that we've had, where and that's why I wanted to break it apart.
Okay.
I think Joaquin Phoenix did a phenomenal job.
Okay.
I think there was at moments where it just felt a little forced, where it's when he was laughing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was kind of a.
It didn't seem natural at times. But overall, I think it was phenomenal. You know,
with that laugh, I think that they were trying to, because it developed out of a like a weird tic.
Yeah.
From his mental illness, it's like it was a weird tic, so it's kind of like an uncomfortable laugh.
But I've been around people that have tics that do that, and it didn't. Obviously, it's natural, right, for them. This movie, at times, what I'm saying is, it didn't seem like a natural tic.
Okay.
It seemed more forced.
Okay.
And then other times,
I think it got easier as he became to accept who he was. Yeah. Then that's when the laugh became more genuine.
When one of the perfect scenes where I felt it just seemed so natural was when he was in the bus with the little child.
With the little kid. Because at that point he was really kind of happy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like the mom kind of stressed him out, and then he went into this whole I can't.
And then he handed the card, and you're like, oh, this is what it is. But it seemed very natural. That seemed really forced.
It may have been
it didn't seem forced.
It may have been a directorial choice where like they wanted to, like I said, I felt like they were trying to make his laugh uncomfortable. Like, I'm not trying to laugh because I'm happy or enjoying it. I'm laughing because it's uncontrollable for me. So they may have pushed like, give me something where like you're laughing, but like it's there's no humor behind it.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So we talked about Joaquin Phoenix and his portrayal. Let's in a nutshell talk about some of the other supporting characters, like. And I can't remember his name right now because that's why Manny's really good at this, and I don't know why I'm leading this. But the gentleman who played Thomas Wayne, his performance.
Oh yeah.
How did you feel about him? Manny from the side. What was his name?
He doesn't
Thomas
know,
Wayne.
but we'll get back. We'll tell you. We'll put it there. All right.
That guy.
So he did insert name here. He actually came off.
Sorry. Thank you, Brett Cullen.
Brett Cullen.
He actually did a pretty good job where it was. He seemed very arrogant, and you can see where in all the other films.
I mean, we really didn't get a look at Thomas Wayne before outside of dying.
But in all the films,
it's always like I'm Thomas Wayne.
But he was always such a great guy, like no flaw in him.
They made him more human.
Yeah, and this one it was like, look, man, I'm educated. I'm doing something about myself. This is a nobody. Where this city is filled with a bunch of clowns, right?
Right.
That's where I really liked, because one of the things I did enjoy, and I'm going to go back to what I'm going to say I did enjoy, was where they actually explained how he gets a following of people, how the Joker gets people to do what he wants.
Yeah.
And this film did a great job. But I think the reason why it did so well was because, what's his name? Brett Cullen?
Yes, Brett Cullen.
I think his character did such a good job in actually you feeling like, man, this guy's arrogant. Three guys get shot in the subway, and automatically you're going to take the side of the guys in suits.
Right.
When in the film it didn't take place that way. So I think he did a great job. I think that's one of the.
Okay. So it seems basically from what you're saying that you did enjoy their casting choices and the performances on screen.
We've only discussed two.
I mean, they were the major two of it. I mean, they had some sidekick.
Three.
The mom?
Major. No. Well, four. The mom felt a little creepy.
And Zazie Beetz.
Yes.
Zazie Beetz. I like kind of one.
Here's to you.
She Sassy Beast is very amazing for many, many reasons.
Many reasons.
Many reasons.
Zazie Bates.
It's
actually how you pronounce her name.
I'm gonna call her Zazie Bates.
Mama name's Lee.
That girl good. That girl real good.
So anyway, she didn't have a huge role, but it was important enough to it guided where some of his decisions. It felt a little bit to me, and I made this comment earlier. It felt a little bit to me like Fight Club when they started to kind of, even though it didn't seem real when they were doing the interactions with him and her on screen. It was like, this kind of feels like out of place and like it's not really talking to her. Fight Club did a better job hiding it, but when they revealed it, it wasn't like, hey, we were trying to fool you. We were just saying that like, hey, these are his imaginations.
This is what's going on in his head.
And for her, so my thoughts on her performance, I don't know how to really gauge it when it's really supposed to have been just like an out of context kind of fantasy.
But I'm not, this is where we have to stop and not compare it to other films every film should be able to just, we should be able to dissect it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to compare it to another film.
No, but just in her performance,
I think her
performance, out of context fantasy.
I think her performance was sweet, genuine. She didn't have a lot of screen time.
No.
But what it was, personally me, watching the film, it just felt as if she was part of, she was really playing into it.
Okay.
When her expression was like, "Who are you?" or "What are you doing?"
Well, when he actually truly meets her and he's in her house.
It wasn't as like, "Come on, you should know where it was," or it seemed very forced where it wasn't genuine. She seemed like, "Hey, like, this is how someone naturally would react."
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of cool because she could have freaked out and could have like amped up the whole situation, but she at least tried to like, "Hey, obviously there's something going on with him, and I want to at least be help, and hopefully he doesn't kill me," type deal. So let's move on a little bit further in the story. Let's talk about like some of the directing choices they went in this film.
I just wanted to talk about her mom real quick. His mom.
Okay, his mom.
I think what is her name? I was, once again, Manny, can you please tell us her name?
Frances Conroy.
Yes.
He's a little quicker on the draw this time.
Yeah. I know her from the American Horror Stories, really, where but she did such a great job. I think she was the standout.
Okay.
Because what little thing, we all expected Joaquin Phoenix because he's the star. But if we were to remove him, I think she did such a phenomenal job, just excellent. Mm-hmm. It was creepy, like their relationship at times. So I was like, man, are they gonna sleep together or something? It's like
that was a thought I had for a little bit.
It's like, because it was.
Where are we going with this?
Not that it was erotic in any point in time. It just felt that
but their relationship
was rather awkward. But it helped you get in the mindset of where the Joker was coming from.
Right. Okay.
So, but I think she's the standout.
Okay.
Because of.
Yeah, so I could totally get it. It was like, I got it. Like, I liked their chemistry on screen together. It told us a lot about like who they were and what they were going through. I definitely did like what she gave me. Like, it was small. I think it became more impactful when we found out what was kind of going on with their relationship from the very beginning, and like her treatment of him as a child.
Yeah.
I felt like that became more impactful to me than their kind of like, "Oh, I'm gonna baby, I'm gonna take care of you. You're all I got" type deal. But I had no problems with what she gave me on screen, and like I said, I like this movie, and that was one of the things that kind of helped me. It built up a lot of It built up a lot of things for me in this film. All right, so now, like I said, I kind of want to move on to like choices, like from the directing aspect of it, and I think this is probably where I'm gonna assume where we kind of lost. Because from this point forward, it seems like you love this film, but I'm assuming that this is where we lose you.
This is where. There was a few key things from the directorial standpoint that I did enjoy.
Okay. So let's talk about the enjoyments first before we get into the negatives.
Sure. I loved he used a lot of symbolism and metaphors in the film. One of my most favorite ones is where he gets canned for being, for taking that gun, and then he starts punching the time clock when he says, "Oh, I forgot to punch out." Then he keeps punching the clock. Then he's walking down the stairs and he scribbles out the "forget to," so it just says "don't smile." Wow. But the moment he kicks open the door, this film was actually, the first half was pretty dark. The cinematography was shot in lower light. When he kicked that door open, it actually he changed. At least I noticed that the brightness, it wasn't as dark. The light shining through the door when he kicked the door open, that's where you actually...
Okay, that probably was a directorial choice.
Yeah, that was where he really... This is where his precipice, right? Where now he's deviating, and now this is where he's finding who he is.
Because
right?
before
he's enlightened
him, his
now.
life, he didn't understand, like, his life was so bleak to him, to himself. It was like, I don't understand if I'm even somebody that matters, if I exist, or type of deal. Now he realizes he does. So now his outlook on the world changes. So I get that. And it's like,
another scene that I really did enjoy as well was where he was coming down after he's killed his coworker and let the midget run out the door. Right?
I was really wondering where that scene was gonna go. Yeah. I was really wondering where that scene was gonna go.
When he's in his get up and he's painted up and he's gonna go to the night show, and he's going down the stairs. Another thing that I did enjoy was when he was real quick. I'm gonna deviate for just a moment. Was where he was ho-hum when he was just bummed out. He's just with his medication, and then the film is very dark at that time, the lighting, and then he sees the stairs, and it's during the day, but the scene is light. It's almost like a gloomy day, and he sees the stairs that he has to climb up, and I love that representation as well, because you see his life is just an ongoing, is uphill. It doesn't seem to end, right? So this time the scene is him coming down the stairs, and he's in his getup, and he's dancing, and he's in his own world,
right?
But he's having the time of his life, right? You're like, oh man, and now the colors are a little bit more vivid. His clothing is a little brighter. The lighting in the film itself is brighter. It's as if you can see where he's really embracing who he is now. He's already planned out what he's gonna do, but now it's like, I'm just having a good time. And all of a sudden, you see in the far back, you see two figures standing there observing.
Yeah.
And he's still doing his own thing, right? Having a good time. Jumping in a little small puddle where he takes a little step, getting this, but he's just had like what kids do, just enjoying it. And then you see these two figures, and then he realizes it's the cops, and it's like reality just hits, right? Boom. And key things that I really did enjoy, that I think they did well. Those were really the few parts that I really did enjoy.
All right, so let me talk about some of the things that I did enjoy. I love the fact that they spent the majority of the film showing you his psychosis. The fact that like he would drift in and out of his own fantasies within real life. So obviously the Zazie Beetz thing, that's why I'm gonna pronounce it.
Zazie Beetz. Hey, hit me up, girl.
Obviously with her and him, imagining a relationship with her, or at least some type of interaction with her. But even in the sense where he like with the talk show host. What was it, Marv or not? What was his talk show host guy's name?
Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah. So even the fact that like he imagined himself on the show, Murray. There you go, Murray. It was like he imagined himself on the show. He imagined getting a hug from him, and it's like even so like that stuff where he's watching and then he's there and then he's not there. I really like them doing that because it played with the fact of what's reality and what's not reality. Like I said, and then with the neighbor, splicing her within like real stressful scenes for him. Like these are things that are causing him to have these fantasies.
Oh yeah.
I really like the director doing that particular part of it. I was more happy with how he directed the film when it dealt more with Murray than a lot of the other, because and I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to make his life look so bleak and like anybody else would just give up on life, and that yet he still endures even though he's not happy. He still endures. But I think when he got more to Murray and it was like what they were doing with him and that particular character, it became a focal point for him. I like what the director did with that. Okay. So those are the things that I really like from the movie. Let's go ahead and get into your negatives, and then we're gonna tell everybody who's watching at home, if you want to skip about 20 minutes ahead, because Art's gonna ramble for a while.
I'll make it short. Just like how many minutes?
No, just go on.
I'll make it short.
It's a joke.
Last 30 minutes were great.
The last 30 minutes were great. Okay.
But let's start in the main things I didn't like.
Okay.
Robert De Niro was a waste of a character.
Oh my God, I totally disagree with that.
Hold on. What? You could have, yeah. If you wanted to be on the show, you should have been in the seat.
Whoa!
All right. So at this point, you're only giving us data that we need. Okay.
You heard it here first.
So Robert De Niro I think it could have been played by pretty much any other actor. He didn't bring anything. They
got him because of King of Comedy. They got him because of King of Comedy, because they borrowed a lot from King of Comedy.
But they really, honestly, truthfully, it could have been played by any character.
I think he did a great job, though.
Great job, but Robert De Niro, right? Let's just put things in perspective, right? Once again, these guys are all up on De Niro's nuts. Like, they're like, eh! But not me.
Whoa.
He's gonna edit that out. Probably not.
Probably won't.
So De Niro's character could have been played.
If anybody could have, you were saying anybody could have played the.
Stephen Colbert.
Want to get the door?
You know what? Stephen Colbert as Murray might not have been that bad.
It would. You know what? All I'm saying is that it could have been played pretty much. De Niro didn't bring anything different that you would expect from an A-list actor, right? This character could have been played by
even when it got to the final scene where he's admitting the fact that he murdered, because you don't think like when Robert De Niro like was challenging him, telling him like about
and maybe that was because of the director. He didn't focus in. Maybe if he would have focused in on, because Robert De Niro brings a lot of passion when he starts. But none of that was portrayed in the film, right?
Okay. I think it was, but
I don't think it. Me personally, I don't think.
At least at that point, before it was, like I said, it was a lot of fantasy type stuff.
Well, you just you want me to tell you what I didn't like?
My bad. I'm sorry. I will continue to sip my cup and shut the fuck up.
What is in this shit?
I guess intermission.
Intermission. So, all right. So another thing that one of the major things I didn't like was. So we get this, and this is where I was talking to earlier about where it didn't seem offset. So you're cheering at the end. You are cheering for you want to see him elude the police officers in the subway. You want to see him actually shoot. Like, oh, what's he gonna do now? What's he gonna do now? But at the end of the day, this is a character that is how can I say? For all intents and purposes, someone that you should despise, right?
Right.
He stands for everything opposite. This film didn't do a good job as giving us that feeling at the end of the film. At the end of the film,
once again, every villain is a hero in his own story.
Okay, but we're talking about the Joker, right?
Right.
And what at the end of the day, what do we leave when if you were to see a movie?
If you were sympathetic, they portrayed him as a villain at the end.
Yeah, but did you get that vibe?
But
that
you
he's
understood why.
Okay, but once again, so the purpose of the film, purpose of the film, right? If we were to see a film about if we were to see a film about a superhero, a hero, right? Mm-hmm. You want to leave at the end of the film. That's a hero, right?
Right.
Flawed, whatever it may be.
Okay.
He's a hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna see even if it's an origin story,
you want to feel like he's a villain. I think.
You want to feel like he's a villain. Like, wow, that's why we don't like him. That's why that's why he acts the way he is. That's why people.
He did murder 5 people, by the way.
Okay. But when he murdered them, the only one that was out of cold blood was Murray.
No, the coworker where he bashed his head
the coworker was the one that throwing him under the bus. Once again, what the film did was try to you sympathize.
Okay.
This guy's going through a lot.
Do you feel the same way about Thanos then? I mean, because he did it for a purpose.
But they gave us at least a reason why, logic, right? And the film wasn't a Thanos origin story. If they gave us a Thanos origin story,
okay, so we're not doing a Thanos origin story because Art will not be on board with that.
Not if you give us somebody that you're like, oh, I understand why. Oh, Batman should take pity on him next time.
No, the dude's messed up.
Exactly. Did you leave that way saying,
yes, I did.
This dude is messed up. Batman needs to do something with him. No, you did it. And that's where this film it did not feel balanced at all. All the other films, even if it's a hero origin story, right? You have something where where you cheer for him because they now become the hero.
Okay.
So if this is a villain story, right? Okay. If we're seeing the origin story on a villain, we should also feel the same. Wow, that's why we don't like this guy. This is the villain. This is out of all the major villains, right? Of all the major superheroes, I think the Joker is probably one of the most, if not the most, iconic villain.
Okay, so would you say that they did enough in First Class to say Magneto was the villain?
No, but then those movies aren't successful.
Oh. I'm beaten. I'm beaten. All right, so I will tell you my negatives of this film.
Wait, I wasn't done with my negatives.
Sorry, you got more.
I wasn't done with my negatives.
Let's go on.
Oh my God.
And if you had to skip 20 minutes.
So it dragged the first, no lie. I went to, and we didn't go to the same showing, right? I went with a different group of people. And we all felt the same way. Okay. At the movie started, the film started at 7:15. Well, really, let's just say 7:30.
Okay.
At 8:45, we were looking at our watches, looking at each other, and this movie. We all gave each other glances like, is this movie dragging?
I think that you guys were expecting a superhero film.
No, I'm expecting the complete opposite. This is an origin of a villain origin story.
Okay, so then once
so
again,
it just
like,
it dragged. It was very slow, and I understand the reason why, but
they were building a lot with
they-
his character.
but it went too slow. I mean, we hold the same movies to the same standard if they're a hero. We shouldn't make exceptions for a villain. Oh well, it's a villain, so it's because we hold the same expectation. Why wasn't Shazam a great hit? Right?
I like Shazam.
No, I'm saying why wasn't it a great hit?
I don't know why, because I like Shazam. I really like Shazam. That was like my favorite DC film at that point.
That's probably the only good DC film.
I really like Shazam. Who doesn't like Shazam? That's a you don't hate if nobody likes Shazam. Can I tell you what I did not like?
I hereby allow you to speak.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate you now granting me floor on this show. So I didn't like a lot of the things that I didn't. It wasn't very much.
That you did not like?
That I did not like.
Wow.
My only problem, and my major issue, and that's the only thing I really want to talk about was my major, because I can nitpick a lot of things. But my major issue is that they didn't want to commit to something. So they wanted it to be standalone, and then they wanted it to kind of tie. Like when we got to the end and they kind of tied they did the whole Batman 1989 where they did the where they showed
you're gonna go that
no,
far.
I'm gonna go there because they referenced it.
I'm just okay.
Where when they had a clown in the mask and they murdered the Waynes, right? So they referenced Batman 1989 with the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker in that one. So at that point they kind of wanted to tie everything together. But then at the end, when they got in there and he's talking to the psychiatrist in the mental institution, they were like, nah, this was all kind of his own lie and dream. Right. And they didn't want to commit to. That's the only problem I had to this. Like, look, do one or the other.
Look, so one of the things we can't go based off of numbers. We can't go based off of box office numbers.
Well, I mean, it's number one right now.
Well, okay, yeah. so is Transformers. And you're going to tell me...
you win, sir.
Okay, so we can't use numbers, box office numbers, because, look, we all know that the new Star Wars films are crap, right?
Whoa!
But we still line up to see them, right?
Whoa.
We all know Transformers. If they were to come out with a Transformers 6... right? We'd be like, oh, I gotta go see it.
I would begrudgingly go see it.
Yes, but you'd see it. Opening weekend.
I would.
Yes. So, box office numbers opening weekend are not a great indicator.
No.
I would say the consistency would be going forward, right? Okay. So, going based off of other people's reactions.
Okay, so critics are at, what are they at, like 73% Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
65%, and audience score is over 90, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Siskel and Ebert gave Forrest Gump 2 thumbs down.
Hey, Siskel and Ebert also hated Star Wars too, so don't give me that.
I'm just saying, like, exactly. So I don't go based off of what critics, because many times, depending on which critics are you gonna go off of, right? Which particular critics, right? Who is USA Today gonna pay more to, you know?
But what I'm saying is that a lot of the fans who went to go see this film actually enjoyed this film.
A lot of the fans that I've talked to that's
65% of the critics
you know what?
actually enjoyed this film too.
At this point, I'm still gonna say no.
Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely all right. So, with that being said, so I briefly mentioned that at the end it seemed like I know we smell food here. I briefly mentioned that it came off as. Did you walk away thinking that these are real events that happened? Or did you walk away that these were, because they talked about him being in the mental institution earlier in the film?
Yeah.
And then at the end he ends there, even though, especially when they got like kind of like this fantasy scene when he gets out on the car and he kind of like
he does a little dance.
Do you feel like all of this happened?
No.
No, you feel like this was completely just something he fabricated for like to tell his psychiatrist.
Yeah. At no point did I feel like this could have been in history.
Okay. So, and I felt like that was one of the things because they, once again, couldn't commit because they wanted to make sure, like, if this bombed in the theaters, that we could be like, it was just a joke type deal. But I was wondering if anybody else felt that way because it was like, because they even showed that they kind of hinted to where, like, he even murdered the psychiatrist.
You know, one thing that I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger on it was where there's like, oh, Bruce Wayne's your father. Or Thomas Wayne's your father.
I love that they flipped that.
I was like, no!
I got upset too, and then they were like, nah, your mom's crazy.
Yeah, then it was like, all right, yes.
Yeah, your mom's crazy.
That was a good...
You should have been on the show.
Yes, questions in the back.
But there was a theory that
before I heard it early that it was
Thomas
him.
Wayne put her in the. Thomas Wayne
That's a
actually
theory.
put
We're
her
not going based
in
off
the-
theories.
Thomas Wayne put her in the hospital
To hide the whole thing?
The
Yeah.
affair because she actually worked for him and he was actually attracted to her.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing that so they kind of make mention to that in the film, but once again, when we get to the end where it leaves you
What I
to
want to
think
know
that
is
it's,
Zazie Beetz killed. Did he kill her?
Yes.
I don't think he did.
implied. See, it's
I don't think he did. I think he walked out of the apartment.
Sir, you in the back? What do you have to go based off of that?
You hear the scream outside of the apartment, and then after that you hear the sirens at the building.
I don't think he did.
I don't think.
I don't think he did.
At this point,
They were pretty
indifferent.
upfront with his murders. In that one, they were not. So I don't think he did.
But they were also pretty upfront about the ending too, and the ending, in my opinion, did not happen.
You don't think that he ended in the?
I do
in
not.
this-
I honestly believe that he ended in Arkham. Once the police car was crashed, I said
I don't think
that
the police-
the police car was never
Yeah,
crashed.
I don't think he ever did any of this.
I think he did do the Murray thing.
I don't think he
I
even
think-
did.
I don't think he did the Murray thing.
I think he's still in Arkham from the very beginning.
Yeah.
When you catch the picture of him in the that's playing
Uh-huh.
as it's recording after he shoots Murray, you see him get tackled. From there to the cop car to Arkham, all of that happened.
So I'm gonna have to wait till this goes on Redbox and then ask one of my friends to rent it, so I can see this again because there's no way I'm gonna spend money on this film.
Okay, so
Last question.
no, that's it.
That's it.
One more.
Go ahead.
After seeing both performances now, who did Joker better, Phoenix Ledger?
Doesn't
Oh.
matter. So anyway, if this
I
is
think that's a dead point.
too soon. Too soon. So, if you guys have seen the Joker and you guys have some theories about the film that we didn't discuss here right now, please make sure you put them in the comments below, as well as like and subscribe to the channel so that way you're aware of all the other videos that we do here.
Yeah.
All right, and hopefully we'll get Art back here to do another movie review that won't take an hour. So for
In my defense, this movie wouldn't have taken that long to review had you not been defending every point.
I like the movie. I'm sorry. So for Aspen, who's not here, and Manny from the side, who should have been on the damn review, who decided to just chime in every 5 seconds, I'm Terrence.
I'm Art.